Welcome back everyone to Angela's Craft Room. Today I thought I'd come to you with a nice Christmas card using the lovely tree stamp set and some sponging. So I have my gloves on because we're going to be getting it right into the sponging of the ink pads. So with this one I've used Elegant Eggplant and Rich Raspberry. Also, we're going to be using 3 stamp sets. As our background, it is going to be the Hardwood stamp set. And then we're going to be using this tree here from Lovely as a Tree stamp set. And then one of the new ones that came out in the Christmas catalogue 2016, with the Father Christmas stamp set, we're just going to be using Jolly Christmas to All, the sentiment from there. Okay, so we'll get started and I'll let you know the measurements that you will need. So I've gone with Island Indigo today, and we're going to be using some Soft Sky along with that colour as well. So this one measures 11, this is your base, so that's 11 inches long by 4 1/8 across this way, and then scored at 5.5 inches. And then your insert piece is just a piece of Whisper White, which is 4 7/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch. Now there's no really wrong, you don't really need those exact measurements, it's just to go inside my card. And then my piece of shimmery white, and those that know me, I always sponge on shimmery white, it's just so much easier. It's 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So we might even cut that down a little bit later, we'll just see how we go. So to do the inside first, we'll just get that out the way. So we're just going to grab Lovely as a Tree stamp, which I forgot I already had it blocked up, and we'll just get the Soft Sky, I think. Now I'm just going to take my ink pad to my stamp, then I can see exactly where I'm applying the ink. Now this ink pad is very juicy, so I'm going to stamp it off before I stamp it into the inside of the card, because it's just the inside, so it's just to finish off your card. So you can see that's still a little bit wet, so we'll just let that dry. And then we're just going to take the little sentiment and we'll just tap that in. I'll just test it on here. Oh, look at that, I had it upside down. That would have been clever. Okay. So I'll just tap it very lightly because that stamp set is very juicy. So just up in the corner there, put your sentiment. And I'm just cleaning that off with my stamping scrub so it's all nice and clean. And we'll just set that aside for a few minutes for it to dry. Then I'm going to bring in my shimmery white piece. Now what we need to do is you need to get some sticky notes that are about this size, the rectangular ones. And I like to line my shimmery white up onto the grid paper squares, and then I'm just going to take a piece, and it's probably just going to come in 2 squares on each side. I might not cut any of this one off. I did cut a little bit off of the last one. So I'll just line that up on that side and just go in 2 squares. That way, hopefully, we're going to get a straight line. So I want it to turn around that way, so I'll just, so it's not going to move on me. Now for our moon, I'm just using the square sticky notes, and you need to cut out your circle at the top where the sticky part is. Sorry if I was off camera then. Then I'm going to take my 1 3/8 inch Stampin' Up circle punch and just cut myself out a circle on this, the sticky end of the sticky note. And peel that off, and then I think I'll put that moon about there. So that's going to be my mask for my moon. Just straighten that up a little bit. Okay. So then what we're going to do is our sponging. So our first sponge is Soft Sky, and it is very juicy, as I say, and it's going to be quite messy. So we're just going to always start off from where you're sponging and come on very slowly. Now we'll just go around the moon so we get a little bit of an edge. You can see that that's given me a bit of a blotchy, but we'll fix that, that's alright. So I'll apologise now how long this is going to take. When I did the one with Rich Raspberry, it took me about half an hour just to do the sponging, so this is going to be a lot I'm not going to be spending that much time. But when you're choosing your colours, you're best to do a light and dark, and just do the light one first. I am going to come in with that very darker blue, so I'll be able to fix that there. This is just to get some ink onto the shimmery white. Now this one has to go over the whole piece. And as I say, I don't normally sponge this quickly, because with sponging, if you want to get that really flawless technique, you really need to take your time. Now I'm just keep on going back and adding round that moon. You most probably don't think that I'm adding much ink on there, but when I remove the sticky note you'll see. Now I'll just start coming in from this side. And I'll go down the sides a bit. And the soft sky is very light. Some people do use the daubers, but when I'm sponging, I like to use my sponges. Now I'm just going to bring it across in that middle section there. What I want is a lot of a darker soft sky, because when I bring in the darker colour, that's just going to leave that different shade right in the middle there. And as I say, I don't normally sponge this fast. When I'm doing this technique, I normally take a lot longer. And the next darker colour, it will blend in with this colour. And I do like to use the non-traditional colours when I'm making my Christmas cards. I do make the red and green ones as well, but and the gold. Now, I'm just going to bring a bit more where I made my little mistake there. So you can see that that's starting to show some colour. But just when you're doing your sponging technique, just take your time. I find it really relaxing, the sponging technique, but yeah, it's just I'm doing it a bit faster today for the tutorial, and I have hardly got anything on there now. You can use just the Whisper White, but to sponge onto, but I do find the shimmery white, it must be because it's got that shimmery speckles through it that it just, so I'm pretty happy with that as my first layer for a quick, seeing I've sponged so quickly. Now I'm going to use the same sponge because I'm going into a lot darker colour, so it doesn't really matter. Now this time I'm going to sponge along the top and down the sides. I'm just going to take it a bit. This is a lot darker colour, so you know it's best to take your time, because once you get that dark colour on there, you can't get it off. But remember, we're going to be stamping our tree. Come in from this side this time. So you can start to see the colour. Like it's darkening now more a lot along the sides. And just bring where it's a bit white there on the bottom. I'm just going to add a little bit more darker there. And in the middle here, I'm actually going to just leave that quite white compared to the rest of the piece. And just make sure I get round my moon. So the moon's it's going to be a lot darker around the moon when we remove our mask. So I do like to wear the gloves when I'm doing this technique because it does get quite messy, and it saves a lot of heartache, you know, if you accidentally get ink on your card. So just go around that moon a bit more, as you'll see that it will be quite dark around that moon when we're finished. So I think we're just about finished nearly. Ladies in my class, they think that, you know, it doesn't look good when they're sponging and then they put a blob on it. But it's just perseverance. It's just something that can't be rushed. So I'm pretty happy how the top is looking. So I'm just going to come down those sides a little bit more and across the bottom. And it's just really once you're happy with it, really. And if there's any tutorials at all that you would like me to do for you, just leave it in the comments below and I will get to it. A lot of ladies do ask me to do tutorials on certain things. All my products I use are Stampin Up. I use nothing but Stampin Up products. So if you love your Stampin Up products, you know, please ask me if you want me to do a particular technique or show you how to colour or using a different stamp set, anything at all. Just I will get to it. I have got a bit of a line up at the moment, but so I'll just whisk all those little loose fibres off. Okay, so with your sponges too, you just rinse them out and let them dry overnight and they will dry. So now I'm just going to take that off and you can see we've got that nice white, if I don't mess it up, that is. I don't think I've got any ink. So just, that's down quite hard. I'll just get my we just want to remove our moon. Look how crisp and white that is. That is just gorgeous. And a further thing that you could do is you could actually clear emboss that. So you could stamp your Versamark ink all over that when it's dry, and then add clear embossing powder and heat set to finish. It would look wonderful. So now I'm going to take my sorry about that, just need to grab my StazOn jet black ink, and we'll just move that piece over. Now once again I'm taking my ink pad to my stamp, and I'm stamping it up quite well. And when you ink up your stamps like this, you can see what good coverage you've got, so you're not going to miss anywhere. So now I'm just going to stamp this one, bring this over, trying carefully not to put any inky marks on. I hope I don't get my head in the way. Now you're just going to stamp it so you've got a bit of the tree going into the moon. Just lay it down and press down. Oh, I rocked that. I hope that was all right. Oh, that's all right. So we'll just clean that off straight away, because with the StazOn you do need to get a bit of an extra clean. And then my little sentiment, I'm just going to stamp it up as well. So we're nearly finished. We don't have that much more to do. Can just see I may have a little bit of black there, and it's really good with your cotton bud just to go around the edge so you don't transfer any of that ink that may be there. And then just make sure that this is straight. And just straight down and up, and we've got our lovely sentiment. A jolly Christmas to all. Can't believe it, that it's getting so close to Christmas. Now I've just taken off my gloves. Okay, so that's really come out lovely, that colour. So just put it, what we'll do is, I think what we'll do is we'll just put this piece inside our card just to get that out the way. I always like to finish off the card, so you know, if you put your sentiment in when you're making your card, it's all done, all ready to go. So then we're just going to line that up on my grid paper. You must get sick of me saying that. So then I'm just going to flatten that down there. And then that's in there already. Now, what we also need to do, we need to bring in our big hardwood stamp. I'll just put the lid on my StazOn jet black ink, so to preserve it. And then what we're going to do, taking the darker colour, we're just going to stamp that all up. Then we're going to make sure we've got the right size, the right side. Pop that down. Get a piece of photocopy paper and just rub that over. Then we're going to take that off, carefully lift that off, and isn't that gorgeous? Just love this background effect. So then you've got that, and then all that's left to do is just pop that onto there. With the one I did, I just trimmed the little pieces off, and then I just put it on with, but I don't think I'll trim it off today. But I just mount it with some dimensionals. This will be another one of my Christmas cards done for my family. So I'll just grab my tweezers. So you can see that if I just push in the middle with the tweezers, it does lift them off a lot easier. Just push in the middle. Get all my mess out the way. Then just line that up with my grid paper. So it's about 3 squares from the top and 3 squares from the bottom. And that's the card. And I think it's come out quite nice. And that's it in the rich raspberry. Now the only difference is I trimmed these pieces down. So whichever you prefer. It looks nice either way. So I hope you'll give that Christmas card a try. It is a very easy one. It's just the sponging does take a little time with it, but I do like the non-traditional colours. So until next time, happy crafting.